Well, Don, a pretty solid night at the office in the end.
Yeah, it was. It was an interesting game. It sort of ebbed and flowed a fair bit, and there was never a lot between the teams. There's probably a couple of times where Essendon really surged on us and were able to probably kick 2 or 3 pretty quickly, which kept it close. And they're the sort of side that can score quickly, so we knew we had to be on our mettle.
But even in the third quarter, when they were coming even late, you were still trying to score. I mean, the last couple of minutes, just the Adelaide way to keep trying to kick goals.
Well, I think that's the thing. I mean, if you know, in the way Essendon were playing, they were clearly threatening them going forward. But our ability to still rebound and probably ask them some questions in defence was important because it kept the board ticking over for us. So, it was a night where we were challenged in a number of ways, and I thought we just found a way in the end.
It's a good time to go into playing that sort of intensity. You got a game like that tonight, then you have Sydney, and then you go to Perth. You're not going to coast in. You're going to know what level you need to be at. Yeah,
well, tonight was a different challenge probably because with Essendon, we know they're a high-scoring team and they move the ball particularly fast. So on this deck, it's the first time we played Etihad this year, and it was interesting talking to a few of the players afterwards. They sort of noticed the increase in speed under the roof. So it was another different challenge, and as I've said all year, we want to meet each of these challenges and adapt. And tonight we had to adapt a little bit around how Essendon played and the speed of the game. But you're right, we get Sydney next Friday night, which will be a great game and another great opportunity for us to play our style in the lead into the finals.
If you can be critical at all about the game, do you think at times you got sucked into playing at their speed and maybe could have controlled the ball a bit better and maintained?
Yeah, it's always a challenge because when the ball's sort of pinging around inside, it's almost it becomes a transitional game and the turnover game, and at times it was pretty much who could best finish off the turnover play. We're mindful of that, and we were trying to, as best we could, sort of manage, if you like, a bit more of the speed. But at times, the players see an opportunity and they just go. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't.
Talking about that turnover play, I think you scored 96 out of your 123 points that way, and they only got 47. That must be something pretty pleasing.
Yeah, well, look, it wasn't a high stoppage game. It was apart from centre bounce, probably with the scoring, it was a pretty low stoppage game. So there was not many stoppages between the arcs, which is generally a bit of a score source, but allows you to structure up the game. And tonight was a turnover transition game, and to get those sorts of numbers is pleasing. That's been one of our strengths. But I was probably equally pleased with how we defended Essendon at times as well in that space, because as you saw tonight, they can be really dangerous, and to keep them down to 80 points in a high scoring team was, I thought, a good result for our defensive stuff.
A bit of a scare with Rory Sloane when you look at the replay, may have dodged a bullet.
Yeah, I didn't see the replay. The message came up to me that he'd just jammed his knee up a little bit, so he was able to play at the last quarter. So we'll assess that tomorrow when he's cooled down.
What about Tex? He went down early in the game. Looked like he was pointing to his foot. He obviously played out of the game. But what was the information you were getting?
He was just a bit sore in the foot. He sort of jammed up a little bit in the first quarter. So he was green lighted to continue, which was fine. He's another one we'll just assess on tomorrow. It's always hard until it cools down. They were both able to complete the game, which is always a good sign, because generally if you're not able to complete the game, it's a bit of a challenge to come up. But they both completed the game, so we're hopeful for them for next week.
That's one pretty firm hand on top two now, Don. 2 games to go. Seeing scares, say, like what happened to Rory and Tex, do you think that will change your thinking at all about managing your players in the last 2 weeks of the year?
Well, as I said before, we won't take any unnecessary risk with guys. If they're not ready to play, they won't play. And we've sort of had the same attitude all year. But I'm still a great believer that it's about, for our guys and any team, it's about creating good habits and playing. It's easy to sort of go, let's put everyone in cotton wool. But the reality is, this time of year, the guys are conditioned to play, and they actually relish playing, and it allows them to actually get A, continuity in playing, and B, they build better chemistry from being out there with their teammates, and they learn from it as well. So we won't take any risks, but we'll also, we want to make sure that we continue to play and ingrain some of the habits that we've built in the way we want to play.
But does the week off mean you're more likely to take full strength team to, say, Perth final game?
Well, that's the other thing to consider with that week off now. You've really got to look and say, well, do we want some guys not playing for 3 weeks? And then, obviously with the start of the finals, if you end up, winning your first final, then you potentially you play 1 game in 5 weeks. So it will weigh that up. And again, each player will be treated sort of differently and assessed differently. And we won't, as I said, we won't take any risks, but we'll be smart in making sure that we're prepared and we're ready to play finals footy.
Jay Kelly's knees okay?
Yeah, I think he just got a bit of a knock on it.
Well, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.